Hello. We're on.
We're on?
We're on.
Yeah. Sure we are.
No, we really are. That red light, see the red light on the camera?
No.
Oh, because it's not there. If there were a red light on that camera, it would be on right now.
Is there a red light on the camera?
I don't see one.
No?
There's no red light on the camera.
So I don't really know if we're on or not. I just have to take your word for it.
This could be an elaborate ruse.
Isn't that red? Doesn't that rouge mean red? Or rouge?
Well, rose is red. Are you thinking of rose?
No, rouge. Rouge means red.
Oh.
So
How do you know
elaborate
that?
rouge. I use makeup a lot.
Really?
You can tell, can't you? That's how I keep the wicked awesome looking. So,
Yes. Do you use the cucumber mask?
Yeah.
Oh, good, yeah.
Well, I evolved from cucumbers, and now I use grapefruits.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Well,
yes.
I would think that would burn.
It does. That does actually.
But it's worth it, right? I mean,
Yeah, to keep looking, 18 years old like
Yes.
I do.
Yeah. Yes.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yes,
I mean,
yes. The things
people
we
don't
do for
believe
television.
how old I really am.
No.
No. What were we doing?
Well, this is rock, paper, hand grenades.
It is.
Yes.
And who am I again?
That's why you have the hand grenade. I think your name's Brad.
Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Welcome, Brad.
Welcome.
I'm a big fan of your movies.
Thanks.
I didn't see Moneyball yet, but it looks good.
Yeah. You got to have a lot of money. So I'm Representative Gary Hopper. This is Matt Connerton, and we're here to do rock, paper, hand grenades. Our special guest is Representative John Heichel from Goffstown, representing Ware and Goffstown. We're here to talk about legislation we're doing this year. But on the lighter side of the news, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to drive after next cotton picking Thursday.
Whoa, what? Really?
My eyes are that bad. I tried to do the thing online, and it said you have to have 20/30 at least in one eye.
Yeah.
And the last time they checked, it was only 20/40.
Okay.
So I'm going to have to wear probably a kilt so I can use my legs to get hitchhike up to Concord if I'm going to legislate and stuff.
Wow. Are you Scottish?
No, but Irish wear kilts too a little bit.
Oh. Okay.
But I'm trying to think of how somebody would pick me up. But if I think I got the legs for hitchhiking, so
Right.
you go with what you got.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, but it could be a long walk, so.
Yeah.
Well, I'll wear those long stockings too,
Yes.
so my legs don't get too cold.
Yeah, this time of year. Yeah.
yeah,
You
Some
want
fishnet.
Fish, yeah.
Oh, that'll help. Yeah.
Yeah, that will
that's-
help
yeah.
him get a ride. He'll get a ride.
Oh
for
yeah,
sure.
I'll get it right. All right.
Sure. I mean, I don't know if I would pick you up if I was driving by, but I'd at least look. I'd be like, what is that?
What the hell is that?
Tartan, fishnet tartan.
Tartan fishnet. I don't
Yes.
think they have that, do they?
Not yet,
No.
but they might.
But then we
Next
gotta-
Thursday.
You could invent it
That's right.
and then sell it to Gary.
Yeah.
It's a win-win.
Okay.
So we're working on new legislation this year. I'm working on one. It's I gotta get a photo of it, but it's basically you know how they have handicapped parking,
Yes.
and they have parking for now up at the liquor store. They're going to have special parking for hybrids,
They already do
right?
in the natural one. Yes.
So I'm
Are
gonna
you serious? They really have that?
Yeah. They were closer than the handicap parking spots.
yeah
actually.
because yuppies need to be close as they can be.
Really?
So, yeah,
that
so,
was a.
I didn't know about this.
yeah. So anyway, I got a new one.
Yeah?
Handicap parking for the visually impaired. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be basically just a target on the ground that you just kind of, and it beeps when you're actually on the parking space, so that blind
Yeah.
people will know when they're actually in a parking space.
That's good.
Interesting.
It takes the pressure off.
It takes, yeah.
No lines.
Right.
No.
No lines at all because it doesn't matter; they can't see them.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know.
Interesting concept, Gary.
Yeah, well, you're on. I figured I'd tell you because you're on that committee, and
It will come to our committee, I'm
yeah,
sure.
I'm
yes.
sure you'll support it.
And you testify. I want to see your testimony on that.
Yeah,
It's very practical.
yeah.
it
I'm
is.
always trying to help,
Yeah.
Right.
because that's the kind of guy I am. Anyway, Representative, back to earth. Now you have a couple of pieces of legislation you came on to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start going through the master list.
Well, I was involved with 6 bills this year, and 2 of them, 3 of them, I'm prime sponsors of. The other 3, I'm co-sponsor.
Oh, just so people know that are not of might not be aware. As a the only people that can introduce legislation in New Hampshire are either representatives or senators, and that's it.
Okay.
If you hear that the governor has a bill he's on, he doesn't co-sponsor it or sponsor it. He might be supporting something, but he didn't introduce it.
Okay.
So if you're a prime sponsor, that means you're the one who went down to legislative services or wherever and worked out the details of the legislation and signed your name, and then you get other people to co-sponsor it. So anyway, this is what he's talking about. Last was a spring we had to, it was almost spring when we actually had to introduce legislation, right?
Last spring, yeah, we had a...
Last spring or early summer.
It was a week or so, a week or 2 weeks. It was a very short period of time to do it.
Right, we had to
September
we had to go
session.
off and work on legislation and sign off on it, I think in November.
Yeah, we had till November to sign off, but there was a filing date,
The
deadline.
window of opportunity was very short.
Yes.
Sorry.
So I took that window.
You took that window, opened the window, and what'd you
didn't
throw in
jump out
there?
of it. I actually... okay, well, I was asked by a friend of mine and a constituent that owns a gas station and a convenience store. And he's a normal gas station in a pretty busy area, but nothing special, just a nice busy gas station, convenience store. And he pays $8,000 to $10,000 a month in credit card fees.
$8,000 to $10,000 a month?
Yes, because he has so many of these fees coming through, and so many people are paying by credit card.
Yeah.
And then I started talking to some grocers.
Now, does that matter if you pay with credit or debit? Does it make any difference? Because I've always asked store managers or places at stores like that, because if it was going to save them money for me to use debit, I'll use debit. If it doesn't matter, I don't care. But because they always say debit or credit, and I've never gotten a straight answer as to whether or not it is helpful to them.
Well, there was the Dodd Act, the Frank Dodd Act, and then this past October, November in Congress, the Durbin Amendment
Right.
amended the Frank Dodd Act
Yeah.
that regulated most of the transactions.
Yes.
The problem being that there's a fee in there that merchants end up paying, and it is called an interchange fee that is like a fee that people have to pay, but most people don't even know it exists.
It's a tax, in effect.
Well, it's a tax. One thing
Tax
is
a
a
private
tax.
organization gets, not the government. That's the only difference.
It's a tax that that you get hit with if you're a merchant taking credit cards, but you may not even know what it is because, for instance, your Visa and my Visa may have different fees attached with them. So when you use yours and you buy a gallon of gas or 10 gallons of gas, and I use mine, one of our cards may actually charge, depending upon the bank that issued that card, and the interchange fees and the fees, my card may cost the merchant more than your card.
Interesting.
Okay.
So over the course of that month, some might be, a 1.75, some may be 3.5 points. So there's that spread in there, and over a substantial amount of gasoline or groceries. I mean, I own an auto repair shop in Pinardville, so maybe I'll get 1 or 2 or 3 credit cards a day. I mean,
Yeah.
insignificant. The
Yeah.
numbers are larger per sale, but the amount is less.
Yeah.
The amount of transactions are less. But when you go to a grocery store, I mean, we know that 70% of all grocery store transactions are on some sort of electronic money transfer.
Yeah.
So this
Now, why can't
this is billions of dollars.
right? Why can't a credit card, I mean a grocery store, charge you less if you pay cash?
Well, it's the deal that you make with Visa and MasterCard. There is, and gas stations too. How come you can't get gasoline cheaper if you want to pay cash? And that kind of went away a while ago, but it should be allowed. And the main reason is these interchange fees. But the contract that you sign when you take MasterCard Visa is you won't do that. So in essence, the cash customers are paying. In essence, the cash customers are paying more because they can't pay less than the credit card customer. So there's a little bit of unfairness there. So I think this bill, and this bill is came out of a friend that owned this gas station. But then I started doing research with grocery stores and car dealers and parts stores, and then the Retail Merchants Association and the New Hampshire Grocers Association, the hospitality when you buy your food or drinks or whatever.
Right.
These points are a huge amount.
Yeah.
And it
What's the justification for them? Obviously, it costs the credit card company a certain amount of money to set up a computer to do these transactions, to take money out of an account and put it into somebody else's account.
Yes, it does. And it does cost. There is obviously a cost to doing that type of thing. It's a convenience. But this is an additional cost that many people think is just excessive. And Vermont actually did it, and they find that it works very well.
What did they do?
We know that $48 billion in 2009, American consumers paid over $48 billion in credit card and debit card swipe fees. $48 billion. So we want to do something about that, and we want to make it easier for merchants to increase their profits, not be charged so much from credit card companies and banks for their fees, but still have it so the credit card companies and the banks make a profit, a reasonable profit that is, but we want to be able to save the merchants the operating expenses. Because
I think-
really, if they charge more, then if they pay more, then they have to charge more to their customers.
Right. Well, that's if you look at it, if that was money just going to grocery stores, how many? That's billions of dollars worth of groceries that people could have had on their plates instead of they're paying to Chase and American Express.
Yeah, all credit card fees. I mean, this is really an amazing statement. American consumers in 2009 pay over $48 billion in credit card and debit card swipe fees. Even customers who don't use plastic pay more through higher prices. So I want to try to do something about that because what I've done since I ran for office 3 years ago, the first time, this is my
Second term.
second term,
Yep.
is to do whatever I can do for consumers, for businesses to survive, and get regulation and government out of our business and let people operate with a little bit better profitability.
Now, to play devil's advocate, we know that you and I both know we have a strong libertarian influx in the legislature this term. Are they going to balk at this and say that's that's just free enterprise and they can do what they want?
Yeah, because this is, in a way, this is kind of a non-conservative idea, isn't it?
Well, no, I agree with him. I'm
Yeah.
To me, I look at this completely different than the reason I'm not a libertarian is I believe laws have an inherent obligation to be moral.
Right. So
Okay,
you
I
have to
do
have
not-
some limited
you have-
regulation.
Yeah, to me, free enterprise without some sort of moral shackles to control it
Yeah.
lead to absolute abuse. I mean,
Right.
those same credit card
I agree.
like for instance, like he says, the credit card companies say we really can't compete against cash. So if you take our credit card, you can't do cash. You can't give anybody a discount. That's against free enterprise.
I absolutely
Right
agree.
there.
True,
And there's over 500 various credit card interchange fees, depending upon the bank that issues that card.
Wow.
And nobody knows what they are. This is the hidden tax that
Yeah.
you pay, and the merchant gets it on his statement at the end of the month. And there's a list of things that you pay.
Yeah.
This and that and this and that, and you don't know what they are. You want the customer to be done, paid for, next
Right,
customer.
right.
You're not, then once a month you sit there and you go, wow, what's all that
Right.
fees that I'm paying? And if there was some part of that I could get back to the merchants to pass that savings along to their customer,
Right.
I want to do it.
Everybody would do better, except maybe the credit card companies, but it is hard to have any sympathy for them. It is a predatory industry.
It is.
This is the bank,
Yeah.
the banking, the treasury, And this is,
And even if it goes really sour,
Federal
remember,
Reserve.
we'll just bail them out anyway, so.
Yeah, true.
yeah, so
They're too big to fail.
whenever-
Right,
yeah.
exactly, yeah.
Whatever I can do to help the businesses and the consumers, I'll do that. And I
Yeah.
think this is a good one, and I've got an awful lot of support through various business organizations that accept credit cards.
Quite a few years ago, I talked to somebody, because I've always thought, like Matt said, that the credit card companies are predatory. If you talk to anybody that's been down on their luck a little bit, as soon as somebody's down on the luck, they were playing 12% and they miss a payment, all of a sudden they're up to 20%.
Oh, yeah, they kick you when you're down.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so you've taken
Yeah.
somebody that's barely getting by and having a hard time paying things, and now you just buried them.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, if they've got a couple of credit cards, they're done.
Oh, yeah,
And
I've been there.
There are people with high credit limits, and all of a sudden something happens, there's a blip, for whatever reason, all of a sudden
they get sick and they're out of work for 3 weeks or something.
they
and
got
then-
no credit, or they
Yeah.
got no credit card, or they take the cards, or they reduce that to $500 or $250. I mean, I don't have a lot of sympathy with that industry.
Right.
But I understand they're a business and they want to survive, and we need to help them also. But I just think if they're being excessive, that's where I'd like to step in as a legislator.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Years ago, I tried to look into. I looked into it. I didn't really do as much work on it as you have obviously, but trying to restrict credit card companies so that they can only charge a certain quantity above prime. And the argument at the time was, well, there are some people who are higher risk. I said, well, then don't give them credit cards.
Right.
Because they already know who they are. They
Right.
already know who Matt is and what his credit rating is. And if they don't think you're going to pay that credit card back, then they shouldn't charge you 25% interest rate. They shouldn't give you a credit card.
Right, exactly.
But I was told that because it was individual states couldn't control that. So, but you're saying Vermont already did this.
The Vermonter has already done one. It's very successful and it works well.
No, what
and,
did they exactly do?
They're doing what I am basically proposing,
Which is?
to control the interchange fees, reduce interchange fees, and have a maximum amount that banks can charge for interchange fees.
Okay. And
But
how-
not all the other fees that they charge, and they have a lot of other fees that they
Aren't they
charge
going
the
to
merchants.
just swap out and call it something else? Or has it? In other words,
Maybe.
if this went through in Vermont, is there any guesstimate as to how much that saved consumers in Vermont since its passage?
No,
No.
I don't know.
Is there any risk of backlash from the banks saying to businesses, well, because of this, now we're just not, you just can't use us to process cards anymore?
Probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, they're making a lot of money.
They'd still make
it's-
money, just less, but they'd still make money, so it's probably not in their best interest to,
Right. Well, credit card interchange.
retaliate.
Yeah, those, and I'm just talking about a very specific small piece of the charges.
Yeah.
Those interchange charges are up about 300% since 2001.
wow.
So, what would drive up something like that, unless it's very profitable and they, it's interchange is the biggest credit card fee you've never heard of.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
People don't know what it is. It's in there, and merchants are getting charged for it.
Oh, wow.
But they don't know what it is. If you ask the average merchant, what's your
Oh,
interchange
House
fee?
bill number so they can call their state legislator and support it. So I think I'm totally 100% behind you. I'm not a libertarian, nor do I run as one.
Well, I'm a Republican with libertarian. I understand that. I guess I'm not a liberal, so but I'm a Republican Party, and I'm certainly a patriot and someone who favors liberty and freedom over oppression. But this is a good one, and I
Well, corporations, when they get big enough, can be as oppressive as a government.
well, they can be.
Yeah.
But yes, and some of us
they're-
do have a choice, but others of us don't have a choice.
Right.
And this is one of those that we don't really have. I mean, we want to take plastic. We want customers. We want the customers to come in and use their plastic because they don't have a pocket full of cash.
Yeah,
and
and
I'd rather
this,
take this.
I would like to see a
checks.
bill that says that you can't restrict people who pay cash can get a discount, that you cannot tell a merchant that he can't, because that would bring those fees down too.
That could bring those fees down too.
You know,
and-
because if somebody's going in there and they said, well, you know, you're buying milk for the kids, and it's, what's a gallon of milk cost? About $2.50 or something?
It sounds about right.
Say
I haven't bought
$2.50. I
milk in
don't
so
know.
long.
I never pay. Huh?
Wow, really?
Okay, so
Wow.
so somebody goes in to buy milk for their kid, the kids. This is, well, it's $3.50, but if you pay with cash, it's $3. And all of a sudden, the merchants are going to, you know, people are going to start paying in cash. The number of people coming down with paying with credit's going to go down, and the credit card company's going to say, "Wait a second."
I mean,
Then it would have competition. So you'd have, but that's just another thought. That's all.
I understand that. I'm not sure that happens because people don't have pockets of cash. They do have credit
But they
cards.
don't have pockets of cash because the plastic's easier.
The plastic's easier. It's a convenience
Because a
thing.
lot of people are just doing debit cards, which means they have the
Right.
cash available.
That's what I do. I
Yeah.
use my debit card for everything. I almost never
But
carry
your debit
cash.
card has that Visa logo on it, correct?
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
So that's where you get caught because that Visa logo on that debit card, and now the Durbin Amendment, for instance, also made it so you used to have a PIN pad. I mean, if you use your debit card,
Right.
the merchant can say, well, what's your PIN number? Now there's no benefit to having because of this Durbin Amendment.
Yeah.
There's no benefit to having a PIN pad or not. I just changed over my
Right.
my processor company, and I got rid of the PIN pad because
Yeah.
there's no financial benefit to running a debit card versus they're all the same right now.
Yeah.
Well, now-
And the difference
What
is
was it ever
basically,
again? House bill what?
this is House Bill 1319,
1319.
HB 1319.
1319. So call your legislator and ask them to support 1319.
There will be a hearing at the House in the Legislative Office Building, room 302, on January 17th at 11:15 a.m.
Oh, that's another thing. If you're the audience out there, if you've never been to the New Hampshire House and gone to a hearing, you should go.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever gone to one.
I never have.
If you want to go to one, go to a few of them. They're actually pretty awesome. How accessible your state government is in New Hampshire. I don't know what it's like anywhere else, but
Right.
people come in off the streets and just want to talk about a subject. And
Yeah.
they'll sit down and express themselves as
Yeah.
to whether or not they agree or disagree with upcoming legislation. It's really a cool thing. Now it's coming on New Year's, and the most important topic is alcohol. And I've got this number wrong, but it said that there's still 25% of the New Hampshire fatalities, I think, are from drinking and driving.
Really?
I think it was 25%.
25%? Wow.
So that means 3/4 of the people that die are sober. So that means that the people who drink and drive are actually safer than people who don't drink.
Interesting. That's
right?
an interesting
Because
spin
there's
on
3
it.
times as many people
Right.
who are sober get in fatal accidents than people who are
Right.
drinking.
That's why I'm always drunk.
Yeah,
It keeps me safe.
yeah, that's the only way.
Statistically, yeah. I think John's reluctant to sign
No,
up.
No, he's not going to say.
Oh, really?
Well, no, this there was I don't know where I heard this yet last night. It's something about on New Year's Eve the number of fatalities for people who are drunk walking goes up profoundly.
Really?
Not New Year's Eve, New Year's Day.
Really?
You know, in the morning.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
people are so drunk they don't feel like they should drive their car. Well, they're actually more likely to get run over during that time than they would if they drove home, which is kind of odd, but.
well, it is interesting whenever we have bills come up in front of the Transportation Committee about safety and drunk drivers and all these issues. We hear from the law enforcement, we hear from the mothers against drunk driving,
Right.
and we hear about the people in the brain injury, and we hear from all of these groups that have potentially or an interest in having people off the highway that are drinking.
Yeah. We've actually done
Interestingly-
really good over the years. I mean, the number of drunk driving accidents, deaths, I think, has gone down
come
pretty
down a lot,
significantly
yeah.
over the last 20 years.
Well, I still think there's, I think statistically, there's more people that die in car accidents a year, and a large percentage of those are from drunk driving, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But, what is and if half the people die in drunk driving accidents, what did the other people, what happened to the other half?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So anyway, your liquor bill, let's talk about that before we run out of time.
Yeah, this liquor bill, how long is the show?
Our show's an hour.
Oh, good.
But we got a special guest coming in about 10 or 15 minutes, so.
Okay, then I'll get right along here. This bill is HB, House Bill 1251-FN.
Right.
And that FN is because there is a finance note, fiscal note attached to this.
Oh, good. I thought it maybe was something profane. I was nervous.
No, FN, fiscal note means that it's gonna, cost or there's an expense associated with the bill, so
Ah.
after the bill goes through the initial committee, what does that go through, Commerce, or what does that go through?
Ways and Means, maybe?
Ways and
or
Means or Commerce,
Yeah, it's going to go through Commerce, but then it goes to Ways and Means.
then it'll go
also.
to, yeah, Ways and Means or Finance or something to.
Right.
So that means the second committee has to,
And it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to cost something, but it does mean that there is money involved somewhere here.
Okay.
yeah, it might even, even if it was gonna gain the state money, it would still have,
Right.
Oh, okay.
so anyway,
So the bill is to propose that grocery stores and convenience stores and anybody that sells beer and wine now would be allowed to sell liquor as well. And I've got a ton of support from this one. Most consumers that I know, I mean, if you're in some parts of the state where the local or the nearby liquor store is 5 or 10 miles away, and you want to have a legal product and you're of legal age and there's no reason why you can't get this product, you just don't want to drive that far to do it. So it's a convenience issue. I also believe through my studies that we will increase the, without affecting the state liquor store profits, which is an issue that I want to make sure we don't. And I'm going to start from the beginning here. All liquor will be maintained and purchased through the state warehouse,
right.
whether it goes to the liquor store or whether it goes to your local grocery store. So the state will not lose any revenue by having, because everything is going to go through the state liquor warehouse.
Will that necessarily close down some of the, like down in Goffstown, you have the state liquor store right in the plaza with Shaw's. With Shaw's?
Hannaford.
Hannaford.
Yes.
Would that be almost redundant if they could go just get the same stuff in Hannaford's?
I don't know.
But
You've
not
got.
that I have a problem with it, I'm just saying.
And the answer is I don't know that, but I mean you've got stores where you've got Shaw's and Hannaford pretty close to each other, and do they affect
Right.
each other? And I guess the answer is maybe, but it's going to make everybody be a little bit better at what they do.
Right.
The state, it is a controlled state, but all of those, and if it's not good for Hannaford, then they don't have to buy it.
Right.
They don't have to sell it. If it's not good for a business, they don't have to sell it. But the state liquor stores will stay intact as far as this bill goes. I'm not looking to
Yeah.
close any state liquor stores. I'm just looking to increase the amount of locations that someone can get a legal product. I'm also looking at ways to increase the revenue for the state general fund,
Yeah.
which is a big issue for us. I'm also looking at ways to create jobs, which if these stores have a new department, they may need to hire somebody new to manage that department. It's going to increase sales for the store. You're going to get more people coming into that store. I don't drink.
How many, yeah, I don't either. But
Okay.
how many state liquor stores are there?
I think there's 72.
72?
I think it's 72. And there's always another one could be coming along,
Right.
all the time. So, and those are pretty expensive to operate, run, buy, and maintain. This will allow private industry to have a product that people want to come to their store and buy. They'll be able to fund their employees' retirement with this money. They'll be able to, and I'm hoping that they will be able to hire. I'm sure new hires will come out of this bill.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And it's a convenience issue. I mean, with all the people that surround the lake in the summer, or when you're on your way home and you stop at the gas station and you need this or you need that, and you don't have time to go to the liquor store. You're out of your car. You're at a place. Might as well buy it here.
Yeah, when I'm out drinking and driving, I know there's just nothing like being able to stop into the 7-Eleven and grab a fifth.
Yeah. It keeps you safe.
It keeps you safe. Otherwise, I'd have to walk home and get run over.
Exactly. So this,
Well, that's the next morning. That's if you're walking home the next morning. Then you're,
Right. Oh, yeah,
then
the
you're
next
more likely to
morning.
get hit by a car.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the rationale for the way the system is now? Is it because
We've always
the
done it that
state
way.
can
I
keep
think
that-
it's
really. Yeah.
well, we've always had it. It's called a controlled state,
Okay.
which that term in itself, I guess, always kind of rubbed me the wrong way because I'm not really into controlled states.
Right.
I'm also not into government-run monopolies.
Yeah.
And I know that they will say it's not a monopoly, but tell me what it is then. This is not an attack or any type of a way to eliminate state liquor stores or the commission.
right.
This is simply a way to increase revenue to the general fund that hopefully will use responsibly and not use it to grow government. We'll use it responsibly to pay off some of our debt and to make
Yeah.
things more affordable for us here. And convenience for a customer and putting a product that people want to buy on the shelves so it's available to the general public.
Right.
No,
And
so do you know how many times this has or hasn't been tried before?
It's been tried from the research that I have. I'm going to say twice. It could be 3 times, but I'm going to say twice. And it has failed for a couple reasons. And one is because they added a lot of other complicated things to it. My bill is simple, and it is purely. It's this exact same RSA that's on the books now, but where it says beer and wine, it says liquor.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's the same bill that allows grocery stores to sell beer and wine.
Now, where do
and we're
the
just
grocery
adding the
stores
word
get the
liquor.
beer and wine, the beer and stuff now?
They
From
get
the
the-
state?
They get the beer from beer distributors.
Oh, so they don't get beer
it's-
and wine right now is only purchased through the
Wine comes from the state.
wine comes from the state.
Beer comes from beer distributors, which is all, regulated, and all the papers go
But
to
it's
the...
not through the state, though, is what I'm saying.
Correct.
So beer is the only one right now that doesn't fall under this. You were already doing it with wine. You're just expanding the wine part to include everything else.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a real simple
So
bill.
the system's already in place. You're just saying, and
Enforcement's in place. If you sell beer and wine, then you can sell liquor also. So the enforcement's already in place because they're
Right.
already enforcing the locations that sell beer and wine. So, it's there's not a lot of additional things they're going to need to do to make this happen. And now here's a number. I owned a bar one time in Nashua.
yeah,
And my on-premise liquor license, full liquor license, was $1,200 a year. So if we add 1,000 new locations, and let's say we charge $1,200 a year for an off-premise license, so now we're talking $1.2 million in renewable liquor licensing
Yeah.
fees. We're probably talking $10 million initially, so everybody can get their inventory once they are able to sell it,
Right.
which is a pretty nice sale. And then looking at $50 million or so a year in additional sales, $4 to $5 million a month statewide, I would think that's doable. And the liquor stores will still stay intact. I mean, they've got the Hooks at Tolls. I mean, the not Hooks at Hooks it, right? The
Yeah.
liquor store in Hooks on
Oh, yeah,
93.
yeah.
They've got 95. They've got some key locations. The one in Nashua. There's some key locations for liquor stores, but we're just going to. I think it's something that it's time to do because, there's a lot of bills that come through the House that you haven't. You hear them and you one way or the other, but my thinking for as long as I'm able to serve in the House, and I may not be there next time. They might get voted out. I might not decide not to do it. There's all kinds of reasons why I might not ever have this chance again.
Right.
But this is a chance, I think, that it's time to create jobs, increase revenue for the state, at the same time reduce spending. And I think this bill would actually help do all that. And really, it's about convenience for the customer.
No, the other, in connection to that, because I don't have any problem with that bill either. I mean, I don't drink, but by the same token, I don't think the state should have a monopoly on anything either.
Neither does the Constitution. by the
Yeah.
way.
I shouldn't say anything. I still don't like the gambling stuff, so. A friend of mine, years ago, a guy that, when we tried to take Suter's house a few years ago, one of the prime people involved with me was a gentleman named Keith Lacasse. He's from Ware. He's a really nice guy. He was I think it was his father-in-law or something had a place, and they weren't allowed to put signs out front to say that they've got 20% off Bud Light or
Right.
advertising,
Yeah,
which I thought is insane. I mean, that's like basic freedom of speech
right.
within a reason. I mean, if it was obscene,
Right, yeah.
then it's not right. But if it's
Yeah.
just an advertisement saying we're selling this at this discount, he wasn't allowed to do that. Do you know if we've done anything about that?
That's interesting.
To put a sale for beer,
Yeah,
or just putting this beer sign on
the
your
sign on out in the front of the store to say,
That's-
"Hey, we got this for sale."
It's probably a town ordinance, I would guess. I mean,
Yeah.
you got to go talk to the. It sounds like a town ordinance
Yeah.
issue, and the state. I couldn't have happy hours. We used to have happy hours a long time ago when we had Manor Fours and things in Nashua. That was the Manor Four was a big place in Nashua at one time.
Yeah.
There was 6 of them around that we did, along with this was going back 25 or 30 years ago or so.
Yeah.
More, 30 years ago.
You don't want to go that far back. You start
Wow,
feeling
that's a
old.
long way. Right. So,
But anyway, what? So you couldn't have happy hour? Why?
well, they cut happy hour. They ended it. Well, because they didn't want anybody to decrease the price of liquor. They didn't want an advertised reduction in the price of liquor.
Now, was that the town or
No, the state. There was a state law that they passed that back then, and it had something to do with. Well, I mean, the state gets 9%
right?
from liquor.
Right.
So, they'd rather you sell it for $2 rather than $1. And
Well, that's ridiculous. That's just
I-
anti-free
I-
enterprise.
Well, I never understood that. You're right, but it's a controlled state, and they hold that liquor because that's their. I mean, they really, when I say control, they.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you as the merchant just want to make less money off it to entice customers to come in the door,
Fine, but they don't want to make less money on it because you want to entice customers to come in the door.
that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
That was
A
that
bit
was
out
what
there.
I got out of that 30 years ago.
okay.
And so anyway, we then they ended happy hour. I mean, you couldn't advertise it. You couldn't put a sign in your window saying happy hour. You couldn't call it happy hour.
Okay.
But you could have, dollar beer night. Or you could do something, but it had to be inside. You couldn't put it
Yeah.
outside, so people outside can't read it.
That's ridiculous. Have you checked into that, by the way, since you've been a legislator? To find out what kind of moronic decision that was and how to change it?
I haven't checked into it, no, but it's I don't know. We could find out. We could ask a bar.
Ask a bar. I don't go to bars anymore.
I don't either. We could ask somebody. I'm sure it's.
Fruit bar,
Who knows?
maybe.
I don't know if it's changed or not.
Sa-
Salad bar, right?
Salad bar.
Pizza bar.
Yeah, just, go to
Right.
Pizza Hut when they have their lunch buffet and just ask them.
Just ask 'em.
Yeah, they'll know.
So what else you got on the fire there, Representative?
Well, let's see. What else?
Those are the
do I have?
big ones. Those are
Those,
big
those are
ticket-
the ones that I'm really passionate about this year, and I think they're good. I think they're good for business, good for consumer, good for people, good for the state. When you get the bankers concerned, or you get the liquor commission concerned, and when you get them, when you get their attention, then
It's good.
you may be doing the right thing for the people out here.
Yeah, if you're not aggravating somebody, there's really no point in running for office.
Right, and my nature is not to aggravate anyone, it's just to,
Ruffle feathers.
make things work.
Oh, I call it ruffling feathers, but
It sounds more fun that way.
it is. It's a lot more fun.
It
I have a
is.
lot of fun.
It is, but I've learned,
You didn't learn it from me, but You know, if you're not getting under people's skins, you're not doing something right.
Here's a couple others right here.
All right.
These are going to be
Try to
kind of
change
fun,
the
right?
Yeah.
These are going to be kind of fun ones. Let's say you're there's one that Laura Jones sponsored, and I
Okay.
signed on to it with her because I thought it was certainly worthy to have time to put forward to the
Okay.
people. And one is to have, as a co-sponsor, one is to have students be able to take the book part of driver's education online as a course, and as opposed to having to pay $400, $500, $600, $700 for a driver's ed course. And this is only the schooling book
Part
part,
of
of
it,
the
yeah.
Right.
not the drive. They're not going to drive online. They're going to drive in their car. I mean,
I'm going to tell you now. The other two I absolutely agree with you, but I know that I was watching a couple of friends of mine, and they had to take their boating course online, and I don't know if they still do it. And there was three of them standing around a computer, and says, "Well, when I go to a red buoy, do I go to the right of the red buoy or the left of the buoy?" The guy goes, "Go to the left, press left." So he presses left. So it's like 3 or 4 of them sitting around, and one of them had already taken the course. Already knew enough to give the right answers.
that's another bill I've got. That we'll talk about that in a few
But so, in
minutes.
other words, what's going to prevent somebody from having his friend over while he's taking it online and his friend giving him the answers, or sitting there with a book and...
It's not the test; it's the course. He's taken the test. He's
Right.
taken the course online. What's wrong with having a friend helping him
In other
learn
word-
the course?
Okay,
Nothing.
I guess I misunderstand then. So what does it do again?
This is going to allow, relative to driver education, and this is going to be, it's going to allow a 16-year-old or 17-year-old, somebody that can't afford, I mean, a lot of these school driver's ed courses fill up and there's no room left.
Yeah.
Which means you have to go to a private driver's ed school, and, which isn't a bad thing to do. I mean, if you want to do it, fine, but not everybody has the money to get that to go take that driver's
Right.
ed school, or the time. And some of the kids are working after school. Somebody, they might have to
Right.
do other things. And I think the 16 and 17-year-old kids today, they're a little different than we were in that they're very computer-oriented and savvy, and they know how to study from the computer. And they still have to drive with a licensed driver. They still have to
Yeah,
prove that they can actually back up,
Right.
they have to do the driving skills.
Right.
But this is just going to allow them to
Get their permit easier.
get their it's going to allow them to learn on their own pace on a computer course, rather than have to sign up at a driver's ed school. And the folks that are not supporting this obviously would be driver's ed
Right.
instructors.
Yeah.
And but
Funny
the
how
ones
that works.
the ones that are supporting it are 16 and 17-year-olds
Yeah.
and parents. And
Yes.
there's a lot of people that say, hey, yeah, I mean, my kid can we can take college courses online.
Right.
We can take, all kinds of courses online. We can
Right.
be ordained online. We can do all kinds
Oh,
of
so
things.
this is like a college course somebody's doing online, but it's like...
It's a driver's ed course.
It's a driver's ed online.
Right. I mean, you don't get your license through it. You don't, but this is just
You still have to go in
This
to
is
the
the book.
DMV and take the actual driving,
and prove that you can drive.
prove that you can drive at some point
And
anyway.
all that, all that's going to come with being with a licensed driver over 26, I think, or
Yeah.
something like that. So you need to have your basic driving skills down.
Right.
I mean, so it's not really putting a dangerous driver on the road. It's giving a student who may have to work after school, might not have it might be inconvenient for some students today they may be saving for college.
Oh, yeah.
Who
Right.
knows the reason why? But it's another option. That,
Are there that many courses online available for people to take?
There are courses online. I don't know how many, but there are courses online.
Okay.
We can talk to Laura Jones about that. She's a representative out of Rochester. And
Okay.
she'd be glad to talk to you about it. That bill number is HB 1440, and that will be heard in the Transportation Committee, of which I'm vice chair of that committee,
Yeah.
on 1/31 of 2012 at 1:20 p.m.
So that's the end of the month.
Yeah, that is the end of the month. The other one that you mentioned about boat, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I could go on with it. you
I was
know.
just going to say, I actually learned acupuncture online, but I can't find anyone to let me practice on them.
I'll let you do it. I don't care.
All right.
Yeah, it might help them.
Yeah, cool.
I
All right.
doubt it.
We'll do that next week.
It doesn't. I
Show
don't.
us some needles
Acupuncture
in.
doesn't help with mental problems.
No, but I just need the practice.
It does if it's far enough in. It will.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah. Oh, so you should show up too. That
Depends how
can
big your
help
acupuncture needle is.
Exactly,
Yeah,
yeah.
you might be able to really help this
What
guy.
if you use like a knitting needle? You can use those. Right?
Some-
That's,
something like
that's what I
that.
have, yeah. I couldn't afford the acupuncture needles. I just got some knitting needles.
Yeah, dip them in alcohol first, though. You don't want to.
Right,
No,
yeah.
it's-
I don't drink
Exactly.
though.
No infections.
You don't have to drink them.
You don't have to drink.
I know, but I want alcohol in me because
You break out in
I
handcuffs.
break out in handcuffs.
Right.
What?
I'm gonna be influenced by you too if I'm not careful. Let's see. Here's one. This is HB 1193. I'm a prime sponsor of this one because you mentioned boating, and this is an interesting one. If you are a New Hampshire resident and you want to drive your boat on a New Hampshire lake,
Yes.
you need to get a safety certificate.
Correct.
To operate your boat. That takes an 8-hour course. So you go take an 8-hour course for the day and get your boating safety certificate.
Yeah.
If you are a out-of-stater and you come here for a vacation and you want to rent a boat, you take a 20-question quiz at the marina,
Yeah.
and you pay the rental fee, and you hop in the boat that you can afford. So there's a couple things here that I just want to mention. One is it's not fair.
Right.
The other thing is, if it's really effective, if people in New Hampshire need to have an 8-hour course to be a competent boater,
And we don't need people with 20-minute, 20-question things on the lakes because they're just a threat to everybody around them.
well, that's the concept of
Yeah.
it. But, and I know that marinas are always talking about safety, and I certainly agree with that. The only thing I'm not asking to change that, although I would like to change it. I'm not asking to change it. I'm saying that at least have somebody go out and make sure that the out-of-stater that pays the fee and pays his rental can at least back the boat up
Right.
and drive it back into the dock.
Right.
And that's it. Kind of sign them off, kind of like a check ride.
Okay.
And if
So
that
what bill's that number?
that bill number is HB 1193.
Okay.
And that one, as a matter of fact, if anybody can take a test and pay a fee, rent a boat, go out and say, yeah, back it up, bring it back in, turn it around, do whatever you want to do, if that in fact is effective, then why do we need an 8-hour course?
No, we don't need
Right.
an
Just
8-hour
because you
course.
live in New Hampshire.
Right.
But there's
I
nothing
think
wrong with
it'd also be completely different as if they were going out to sea versus in a lake.
New
too.
Hampshire Lake, yeah.
When
And
you start going out to sea, then it gets a little. Then you can lose sight of land and end up in Bermuda.
Right.
But
That's right, and that's
that'd be a different. Animal
That's Coast
again.
Guard stuff. That's
Yeah.
and this isn't to do anything. We don't want to make it difficult for people to come to the state and
Right.
New Hampshire. We want them to come to New Hampshire. We want them to use our lakes.
Yeah,
we
but,
want them to.
but they shouldn't be treated so much better than the people that are actually here already. Is
That's-
basically the point.
That's my point, and that's why I sponsored this bill. And this is actually directly requested by the Safe Boaters of New Hampshire organization that asked me to
Yeah.
sponsor this bill for them.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
And so it's not to take anything away, it's just to make it fair, and if we can't make it fair, then at least have someone at the marina check it off and say,
Right.
yeah, I've seen that he actually knows what he's doing.
Right. Exactly.
Now we can run it.
Can I see him? Is the camera set?
Can we get him in?
How you doing? Come on over. What's
You gotta get right close to the microphone.
wonderful?
I don't know. I can't see the camera. Whether the camera can see him or not. No. Okay, Scotty, can you slide over towards Representative Heichel?
Joe, zoom out a little bit.
Live TV.
Uh-oh. We get a phone call for
we-
Scotty.
All right, finally.
All right, go ahead.
Should we grab it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, welcome to Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades. Who's this? Hello?
Nice talking to you.
It's the Phantom.
The Phantom of the Opera.
Yes.
All right, we have a special guest. His name is Scott Anthony Sanborn. And a big holiday happened last few days ago. Don't grab the wire, young fellow. So what a big holiday happened this week?
Christmas.
What'd you get?
Trampoline.
A trampoline?
That sounds dangerous.
Did you kill yourself on it yet?
No.
Have you bruised yourself on it yet?
No.
Do you wear a helmet when you
What?
jump on it? A helmet.
No.
Okay. I don't know. I've never jumped on a
Seatbelt,
trampoline.
nothing, right?
No
Oh,
seatbelt?
seatbelt? That's a good idea.
Didn't take
No. There's not a seatbelt.
Do you have to take
Not
a
regulated yet?
20-question test.
you have to take? Did you have to take a test to jump on it?
No.
Do you actually naturally understand how to jump?
Yes.
Well, you have a little sister. She doesn't know how to jump.
She is not even 1 year old.
You gotta have to sit up next to the.
She's not 1 year old.
Okay. Hey, no, don't get upset. Okay. On this program, we try to stay calm and rational.
Well, your line of questioning is very aggressive,
It
Gary.
was very
is,
aggressive, wasn't it?
yes.
Okay. You must have questions for a child just after Christmas.
Well, what else did you get other than the trampoline? Did you get anything else really good?
There's like these little guys that go to a PlayStation,
Yeah?
and and you put a thing on your shelf,
Yeah?
and then you put your guys on it, and you put a remote control. You have a remote control for them,
Yeah?
and you can walk around and then attack people.
Well, that's good.
Well, attacking people is always a good thing, and I think it's a really good thing to teach young children.
Mm-hmm. It's a
So
tough
that when-
world out there.
It is a tough world. And
Yeah.
if they learn how to attack when they're 6, they'll be all set when they become grown-ups, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, but that doesn't really figure how when I'm gonna get a pocket knife or something.
Do you think you need a pocket knife or an assault knife?
A pocket knife.
What kind of pocket knife are you anticipating getting?
I don't know. I don't know what kinds there is.
Something that's legal to carry, I would hope.
Right.
Usually,
You're not armed right now, are you?
I know, I'm a little nervous. Are we in danger?
So, well, you're in Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, right?
yes,
And eventually you're going to get your Cub Scout badge to have a knife.
I already got a Cub Scout badge, but it's not for a knife.
Right, but later on you'll get one for a knife.
That's when you're a bear scout.
Oh, when you get to be a Bear Scout, you can get a jackknife.
It's not a jackknife.
No.
It's a pocket knife.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got to work on my terminology.
You got to know your
That
knives,
was right
Gary,
after
please.
the Bowie knife, I think. Wasn't
Yes, the Bowie knife. It goes in steps.
Yes.
It's pocket knife, jackknife, Bowie knife,
It was
switchblade.
Arrowhead first, and then
Oh, arrowhead. Yes.
We should,
So
Just
we're gonna wrap it up.
looking at
Well,
the
we
time,
do. We have time.
We do have
Yep,
time?
Yep.
wow, it goes by so.
Oh, the
quick.
next show's not
oh,
coming,
okay.
okay.
So we got 4 more minutes. 5 more
no,
minutes.
no, no liberals yelling at us.
No liberals.
Not this week.
So anyway, so
The L word.
the L word. Yeah. Well, they get pretty angry if we're finish up too late. So
Well,
so Mr. Sanborn.
10
What,
minutes left.
so Mr. Sanborn. So we know that you're eventually going to have a knife. What else are you planning on getting as you get older?
I'm almost afraid to know.
Well, he's my grandson, so
Right.
the answer can be crazy.
Yeah.
Using the BB gun, getting to figure out how to use a BB gun better.
Right. Well, you already used a BB gun before.
I'm not good at aiming it.
No, hey, don't calm down, all right? You don't have to be so defensive, okay? Just calm down.
You're a very aggressive interviewer, Gary.
I know. I'm trying not to be.
Congressional hearing here.
I know.
Yeah, I know. Jeez.
Where were you on the morning of December 25th?
Okay.
Huh? Well, yes. Where were you on the? Huh?
I said okay.
Yeah. So what else are you going to get when you get older? What are you going to do in college? What are you going to take up in college besides space?
Thinking.
That's a good thing to
What do you
do in
wanna be when
college.
you grow up?
What do you want to be when you grow up? A doctor? A
No,
scientist?
no,
A psychologist?
no,
A Presbyterian?
no. A WWE fighter.
Really?
There you go.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's wicked cool. Are you going to be a WWE fighter? Or are you going to what's your name going to be? Because they all have kind of you
I
can't
don't
just
know.
whoa, just
Jeez, wow.
He's up.
It's because you're right in his face, Gary, with these questions.
I know. I guess to calm down my question because the WWE fighters don't have normal names. They Mighty Joe Young. What do you could call yourself?
I don't know yet.
You'll need a costume, too.
You'll need a costume too. You will.
I'll just make one.
Like what? What color will it be?
Black.
Black with what? Is it going to just black, solid black?
No, black and golden.
Black and gold. That's a good combination. Black and gold goes together. You gonna have like spiders on it, or are you gonna be like an acrobatic kind of guy, or one of the just big, burly, strong guys that just pounces on people?
Don't really know what you just said.
Well, the acrobatic ones are the ones who kind of do big jumps and leaps and flips and
I like doing flips
right.
and jumps.
Right. So you're gonna be.
And he's very emphatic about it, too.
Yes. So you're gonna be jumping on people and pummeling them.
And kicking them in the face.
That's really pleasant.
All right. Who needs weapons?
Who needs weapons?
People
He's
kick
going to
people in
be
the
a
face.
weapon. You're going
That's
to
right.
be a weapon when you're in WWE. Right?
I already practiced fighting on my grandfather.
Did you kick him in the face?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's good.
I'm not allowed to kick him.
All right.
Yeah. He does beat me all the time, though.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell. He's pretty.
Yeah.
I'm pretty intimidated by him.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
Yeah, he's a pretty scary guy.
All right, we got
1 minute. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we close up a little, buddy?
Not really.
What are you looking forward to the next year?
You mean on what?
Like, are you going to do good in school?
Yes, I am.
Are you doing good in school right now?
No, because I'm not in school right
No,
now.
no. I'm
That's a
talking-
good dodge. You'd make a good
He
politician.
is, he
Yes.
is.
I like
What school do you go to? What school do you go to? Put a plug in for your school.
Wilson, on Wilson Street.
Very good. Well, anyway, thank you very much, folks. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, thank
This
you,
has
Gary.
been a- this has been
Happy
a-
New Year.
This is Happy New Year. It's been
Happy
a good.
New
It's
Year,
been
I
a good
guess.
year.
Yeah.
Happy New
Drive
Year, Representative.
And drive safe out there.
Drive fast and tailgate.
Right, call a taxi, hire a limo, walk, do whatever. Just
Yep.
don't
drink and drive. Don't even walk and drive. Your chances of getting hit if you're drunk walking are so high. If you're drunk, just get a cab.
Don't walk and drive.
Oh, AAA. From what I saw this online, I don't know if it's true, but according to what I saw, AAA, you can call AAA if you're drunk, and they'll give you a ride this
Very nice.
New Year's. I don't know if that's true. Scott, stop it.
We're getting the high sign.
High sign because he's being crazy, or we got to go? Or
Probably both. Thanks, everybody.